views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Join Dr. Pat Basile and Chip Justice every month as the Positive Change Institute can help you build meaningful success, embrace life and love, and realize the creativity in you. Living a life you love is the end game in this inspirational and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. And now here's Chip and Dr. Pat.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Wow, everyone. Welcome back. For those of you that were listening to the last hour, it's great to have you all tuning us in and turning us on. I am Dr. Pat, and you guys named me, whether you remember that or not. Many of you are thinking, what is she talking about? Well, you know, I get to co-host a series of shows, but the show wasn't always called this. And so we are part of a changing environment. Things change. Seasons change. People change. Wait a minute. That was a song by Expose. That was a song by Expose. It's called Seasons Change. There, Betty. Go for that. And so today's show is the Chip Justice Show with me. Positive changes for a life you will love. But ready for this? We're not asking you to do anything except listen. Today, from human doing to human being, taking action with heart. I love this topic for so many reasons. You know, it doesn't say we are not to take action, but there's a difference between doing for the sake of doing, as opposed to being guided to doing from a point of view, heart-fueled doing. Chip Justice is joining me here today, you know, and he is somebody that knows a lot about heart doing. Whether he's walking with you or doing handstands on on the Eiffel Tower or hiking Machu Picchu, it doesn't really matter. He has a vision to help people create a life they love. And that's what he does. You know, as a result of that, along the way, you know, he had an epiphany that said, wait a minute. Not only am I going to work with all of the organizations I work with, support our vets, and I'm going to do something where I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to create Positive Changes Institute, Positive Changes for a Life You Love. And so you're going to hear about PCI, what the vision is about, but it's a place that each and every one of us can go, work with Chip, and then step out into the world to help others. So we help ourselves so that we can help others. We help ourselves so that we can help others. And today's show is understanding what that means at a level that goes beneath the surface. So what Chip says is you have to take a risk before you can be safe. Well, we're going to find out what that is. Chip, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pat. Thanks so much. We really appreciate the introduction. Every time I hear you with my introduction, I'm just kind of surprised at everything that I've done. And the reason why, it's because I've taken all these risks. And, you started out by talking about doing, that human doing. You know, it's funny. You started out even the previous show with Tanya talking about knowing what we know and knowing what we don't know. And that's the whole thing about taking a risk. It's about going after and finding out about what we don't know about. That's why it's called a risk. Because if you knew about it, it would not be a risk. And I'm here to tell you that today we're going to find out how taking a risk is going to actually be a safe thing. So And also, you talked last show about the Rayner Institute. Hey, I just want to continue with that, Pat.
Yeah.
That's actually where I come from. I'm teaching there tonight at the Rayner Institute. It's really a great foundation for those that are interested in coaching. If you listen to this show and you want to be a coach, we'll give you a $300 discount to coaching. They're taking a coaching class over at the Rayner Institute. That's my way of giving back to Mark Rayner. Is we'll figure that out.
Well, this is what I love about this, because here, let's talk about this for a minute.
Sure.
I met Mark, way back, and I loved hearing what he was created. And just like you, to work with people and see what they're creating. But it's part of today's conversation, right?
Absolutely.
It's this thing that we go from. I don't know about you, but I've had a few corporate jobs in my day. That is a human doing for me. Right. But at some point, I switched. And it doesn't mean when you say human being that we're not supposed to take action. And I would love for you to take a minute to clarify that, because part of the inaction is to become empowered. And becoming empowered means that, yes, I'm going to become a coach for a lot of reasons. But this is really what you're talking about. It's not that we don't take action.
No, in fact, it's about sometimes just sitting back and listening and absorbing and living in that moment, being aware of the situation, participating in life, not just with your head down in your cell phone, cranking away. That's part of that doing. I think a lot of this doing is because there's a lot of people out there who are really scared. They're scared of so many things, and you hear it on the media, you hear it from especially some of the Republican frontrunners. But people, they're not feeling safe anymore. They don't understand what it is that makes them safe. They're being told what they think it is that makes them safe, but they really don't know themselves. They're not aware of who they are and what makes them safe.
Yeah.
Nor do they understand what they need to be safe. It's great to be aware of what makes you safe, but how do you get there? And what's the process? What steps do you take? Those are all part of taking that risk and taking that leap in life. We have a home that's filled nowadays with everything to make you safe. But once you go outside of that home, you're taking a risk. And that risk can be limited in your interaction with people and with life, or you can take a risk and go and learn about new people, whether it's in your neighborhood or out in the world, and start to understand it and realize the diversity that's out there in life. And really, that's kind of what makes us who we are. I would think, especially as Americans, we don't have that many countries that have the diversity in population that we do. And go ahead, Pat.
Well, one of the things that I think is so important to really just chit chat about, for a minute is, what does this mean in the world when we're talking about safety? And there are many, many things, right? There are many, many things. It's really interesting that, we're talking about this, football season, and here people watch football. They do a lot of other things, but football is a big thing. And always a big conversation about whether or not a coach is making a good call or coaching to play it safe, or are we playing conservatively? There's just a lot of dialogue about that. And, the question really is for me, and this is what I think you're going to talk about today. Am I playing to win, or am I playing not to lose? See, there's a difference.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know about you, but I used to play like a little sports myself. And the days that I lost the big one were when I stopped playing to win. What does it mean? I didn't bring my best game forward, right? Right, Chip? I didn't bring it forward.
And in fact, I tell people there is no game over. I'm in it to win it. The game is over when I'm dead. I have way too much out there that I want to go see and experience and enjoy and smell, taste. You don't get that whenever you live in an enclosed world and you don't take that risk. And that risk can be in life. It can be in your career. What you did, Pat, by starting out this network, there was a huge risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm sure you did not feel anything close to safe when you started it, right?
I have to tell you, this is really the fascinating part of this, and I hope we'll talk about this when we come back. When I said yes 13 years ago and did not hang up the phone, and then when, I was helping my buddy launch his network, in 2009, and he disappeared. I did not think about it. And this is what I think we're talking about today. When I didn't hang up the phone and I, within 10 minutes, bought my first hour of airtime, I didn't even know what I was doing from a brain mind point of view. But from a heart point of view, it was like breathing. And the same thing in 2009 and the same thing now with what we're doing. We don't sit around thinking very much about stuff, about that, like we don't say, what are we doing? We just know it. When we come back from break, this is the conversation. What's the relationship between heart? What's the relationship between knowing? And how can we step beyond the fear? How can we step beyond the fear?
And we'll definitely going to teach you that when we come back.
Exactly. And know that it's going to be awesome, scary. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Chip just...
Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Steffen each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show will have you thinking outside the box and riding the wave of infinite potential. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. Visit thetruthisfunny.com.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Basili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic.
The doctor is in. Tune in to the hit show, The Psychic Love Doctor, with host Deborah Lee. Deborah's life-affirming, highly perceptive reading method has taught Deborah how to zero in on specific problems with relationships, career pursuits, and current roadblocks to success and happiness. Join Deborah Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, and for a special broadcast the second Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Ronnie DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Ronnie DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Ronnie DeLuce at info@RonnieDeLuceOnRadio.com and visit mtheholisticretreat.com. Dr. Ronnie DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Chip, let's just take a moment before we continue and give people some information about the Institute, about what you're doing. And pretty soon we're going to have a new website for people to go to. But before we go ahead and do that, can we just tell folks how they can find out more about you? And then, we have a 60-minute discovery session, I believe, to give away today as well. So let's give people some information before we jump right back in and talk about safety being found in feelings. That doesn't sound right.
No, that tends to scare people just a little bit. So we'll start off, Pat. You wanted to know about my contact information. There are several ways to contact me. My website, www.positivechangeinstitute.co, not .com. You'll get a nice lady out in Phoenix, I believe, who has a kind of a similar story. Anyways, back to other ways you can get a hold of me on Facebook, Positive Change Radio, or also on Facebook, Positive Change Institute. Twitter, I can be found on the PCI Coach. I'm also on LinkedIn, Google, Pinterest, Tumblr, Upwork, Nomi, Thumbtack, Instagram. If it's technical, I'm probably out.
Right. Right. And that's because we live in the really cool world of RSS feeds, which I never understood, but now know and love. I now know and love. Thank you so much. Now, before we get going here a minute, I also want to mention that today we're also giving one of our listeners, we're giving them a free 60-minute discovery session. Can you tell us about that and how people can win that?
Yeah, absolutely. So during our 60-minute discovery session, we take an hour to focus on you and what it is that you need to accomplish, what it is that's keeping you up at night, that is keeping you from getting out of bed in the morning. Mm-hmm. And during that 60 minutes, we're going to identify what the root cause is, and we're going to take you up through a model I've created and get you to a safe place and somewhere where you can implement and take action to take charge of your life.
Yeah. So how can they register for that?
Absolutely. Register going to my website, www.positivechangeinstitute.co, or Facebook. You can reach me at Positive Change Radio. Either way, you can go. If you mention Positive Changes, that'll register you for a free 1-hour session as well.
Perfect. All right, let's talk about this notion, this thing here. Safety is found in feelings. Let's talk about that, because most people, you say safety and feelings in the same sentence and it's just not registering.
No, in fact, whether it's an individual or a corporation, you say safety and feelings, that oxymoron, just you can see the lights on their eyeballs just get very big. That people are not safe when it comes to taking a risk. So today I want to do a little exercise with all of our listeners, and I want you to create an 8-block. What an 8-block is something to write down on a piece of paper, just 8 blocks, 2 across, 4 down, and we're going to spell out on one side, we're going to spell out risk down the left-hand side, and on the other column, we're going to spell out safe down the right-hand side. And what we're going to do is we're going to take you from human doing to human being at the end of this little action. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, outstanding, because really, this is going to be a little scary for you. So we're going to spell out what risk means. So the first word in risk is ready. Being ready to take a risk is really it's one of the hardest challenges a person has to go through. And why? It's because they've made it up. They've put something in their head that's telling them something isn't right. It doesn't sound good. No way. I'm not going to go there. So imagine what life would be like if you didn't take that risk. If you were alone, you lived life without any partner, if you went to work without any colleagues, you just didn't talk to anybody. you have no friends in which to share a common interest, or you didn't have people that cared about you. You have to be ready to go out and find those people, because they're not going to come knocking on your door asking, hey, you ready to go? You have to get out there and go find them and tell them and show the world how you're ready, how you're going to take it on. So that's what ready is about. It's CEOs have to understand how to be ready to take on a risk. Heads of households have to be able to know how to take on a risk. There's the old saying of there's no I in team. Well, it's so true. It's because you can't do this alone. So you have to be ready to go out and implement this risk that you're going to take on. So this is the I in risk. Implement.
Yeah.
You're here. You're going to implement your awesome, your greatness. You're going to take what it is that you're afraid of, and you're going to go challenge it head on. So that takes us across from risk. We have down safe, and we have to go back for a second because I was so excited about this 8 block. It's something that came to me just the other night. And so we're still kind of building this out, but it's so important. It's so, I think, eye-opening to what risk is about. I've been teaching and talking about risk for, over a decade now.
Yeah.
And going up to corporations to identify risk, but to have something, a new way to look at a risk. It's not often something that happens, because we as people, we take something that somebody else has created and we just keep doing that. So like we've talked about at the very beginning of the conversation, the human doing. If your head's down, you're just doing. You get wrapped up and you just start going along. Well, sometimes when you create something new, you forget a step. So that's why I'm backtracking. I had a slight moment because I'm creating something new here. And that's the whole great thing about, I think, today's time, is that you can share things with people. And if you make a mistake, you have to own it. We have so many people in whether it's leadership opportunities. I mean, I've counseled some of these people who will not own a mistake. They will gladly point the finger somebody else, or they just won't admit that they've done something maybe wrong. So I just wanted to point out that people shouldn't be afraid of making a mistake. That's all part of this taking a risk that I'm talking about. And we're going to find out why it's so safe. So taking this back to where I started with now, safe. We didn't define what the S was in safe, and that's about because it's scary. If you noticed, I avoided the S in safe. Why? Because it's scary. It's scary when you go to take a risk. So, go ahead, Pat.
Well, when we're talking about, going through emotions and looking at the scariness, what we're not saying is to take scary and make it a showstopper. And I think this is really what we're talking about. What's the difference between scary and immobilizing fear? And that's the conversation, that has to do with this. When we're taking a look at, safety, it is one of those words that we think about a lot, but we don't bring it to the forefront. We don't step out and say, oh, am I going to be safe? Now, some people do. We don't walk out our door and say, wait a minute, I'm not sure I'm going to be safe today. Or what does safe even look like? But there's this gnaw or knot that we will get in the middle of our stomach around something. And when we get that gnawing or that knot, we know we're in a scary place. We know it before the words actually come out. We know what that emotion is about. But we know we're having that emotion. But a lot of times we do not know what that emotion is about. And so how do we do this thing, this knowledge over our emotions? How do we look at it? What do we do about it? And, how do we move to the place where when we take risks, we can find the safety in it? We're going to take a short break, everyone. When we come back, we're going to be talking about knowledge over emotions. And we do have an on-air giveaway today. We have a free 1-hour discovery sessions. We're going to do it here right on the show when we come back. When we come back, knowledge over emotions. Anybody out there got a question? Give us a call. 1-800-930-2819. We'll be right back.
The new era of financial planning is upon us, where it is just as important to focus on your inner wealth game as it is your outer wealth game. Wouldn't you like to be in the forefront of this new groundbreaking financial movement? Lynn Brown, award-winning financial planner, energy coach, and international radio host, will share real, actionable money wisdom infused with empowering tips, fear-busting exercises, and money-growing magnetism. Aren't you ready to create your fully financially healthy life? Join Lynn for this free 2-hour full-spectrum financial planning workshop in Bellevue, Washington on October 8th or October 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. Space is limited and will fill up fast, so call Lynn today at 425-372-4749. That's 425-372-4749. Light food and beverages will be included. See you there!
Tune in to Prescience Life Radio with host Mia Simone. Mia is devoted to sharing her extensive knowledge on the invisible worlds of energy. Join Mia and discover the science of intuition and connect with your greatest gift. Start living in your potential today and every day by opening up to the power of inner knowledge. To learn more about Mia, visit presciencelife.com.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Hosts Dr. Pat Baccili and Chip Justice can help you build meaningful success while embracing life. Living a life you love is the end game in this new, inspirational, and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. Tune in every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit PositiveChangeInstitute.co for more information.
My dream is to end homelessness.
My passion is living a green life.
My dream is to end poverty.
My passion is volunteering.
My passion is making a difference.
My dream is to cure Lyme disease.
My passion is rebuilding communities.
My passion is helping those in need.
My passion is caring for the elderly.
My dream is to find a cure for cancer.
My dream is to leave a better world for my children.
We all have that special passion, that lifelong dream that drives us to live our lives with meaning and to create a better world. No matter what drives you, we can all make an impact. Dr. Pat Baccili is helping others make their dreams come true, so we can all help make our world a better world.
To learn more about how Dr. Pat is building a community of sharing hope, strength, funds, knowledge, and information, visit abetterworldcrowdfunding.com today. That's abetterworldcrowdfunding.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's so great to have you join us here today. Chip Justice, we're talking about, for those of you out there, we're talking about positive changes, but we're also talking about, positive changes for a life you will love. I mean, this is the difference. It's not just positive changes here, that we're talking about. We're talking about positive changes for a life you will love. Now, why is that important? Because every day I think we think we're putting our best foot forward and we're taking a positive change. But the question mark is, okay, we may be making some positive changes, but are we making them for a life that we will love, that you will love, that I will love? Or are we making them for somebody else? Or are we making them for some other thing? And so what Chip gets to do is he gets to work with people all over the world to make sure that when you are stepping forward in the world and you're making these positive changes, it's for a life you will love. Now, before we take on knowledge over emotions here, I want to make sure we give one of you this free hour of discovery session. I want to make sure you're actually going to be getting that. And it's an on-air giveaway, which can be used anywhere you'd like. But let's just do it during the show. 1-800-930-2819, 1-800-930-2819. And let's do our first caller to work with Chip for an hour on a full hour discovery session. 1-800-930-2819. All right, Chip, knowledge over emotions. Now, you and I were chit-chatting a little bit at the time of season it is. It's an election deal going on. A lot of emotions, a lot of things floating around. And I made a comment to you. And the comment that I made was, I watched, a woman that worked in the same industry, you could say boss, now running for president. And I never thought in a million years that I would see that in my lifetime. I mean, I just had a moment the other night, where I'm looking and my friend sends me a text message and he says, you know what? Did you ever think, Pat, in your lifetime, this was him now, that 2 women may be running for president? Now, I don't follow this a whole lot, so I didn't know what he was talking about, but he was quite emotional about it. Literally tears about it. Now, here's me. Am I going to be emotional, or am I going to find out what the heck is going on that he's talking about? So where does knowledge over emotions come in? And some people say knowledge is power. Is this the case here?
And it absolutely is. There are so many people out there who other people look at as successful, and they think that those people are successful just because they make a boatload of money. Elon Musk is a perfect example. I think he's been divorced 3 or 4 times now. I want to say twice to the same woman, which is why there is kind of a question there. But this is one of the most successful men in the world, and yet he is probably one of the most unhappy. He has no idea how to live a life that he'll love because he hasn't defined success. He has been told what success is. He listens to what other people think success is. But I bet he hasn't, well, I can't say what goes on in his head, but so many people, they don't define success or how they've been successful. You have to get you have to do a lot of successful things to get to this stage in life that you're at, whoever you are. You've done a lot of positive things. You've made a lot of positive changes in your life. And you have to keep doing that over and over and over again. And that's part of having that knowledge, that understanding that it's okay to have emotions and sometimes express those emotions, but don't necessarily express those emotions out of fear, because what's fear do? It breeds hate. Then you hate something, which is why so many people don't take a risk, because they hate to take a risk or they hate to eat something. I hear that so often from someone very close and dear to me, that she hates eating something. And then we start talking about, really, do you really hate it? But it's because, we're maybe not necessarily using the words correctly, but we're learning how to use our emotions that are sometimes not in a positive way, and that in turn creates us to where we are with all of the problems in the country today and around the world. knowledge of your emotions and being aware, it takes 6 seconds for a person to have emotions come out based upon a specific trigger. It takes like a quarter second for the brain to identify, hey, something happened here. I'm scared or I'm worried.
Yeah. So when we're talking about the things in life and when we're talking about how we get to show up, we have to decide for ourselves, right? What foot we're going to put in front of the other. I mean, and that's what today's show really zoomed in on. You know, taking action with heart. Taking action with heart. And so what I hear you saying is that as we're looking at this and we're looking at taking action with heart, we're looking at setting our lives up in a way that we are open to what our heart is saying. And I think this is really what has been happening here in the last decade. You know, some of us have forgotten what it really is like to lead with our heart. You know, I mean, what I'm talking about, Chip, is, you know, we've gone through an era, maybe 10 years is going back too far. You know, maybe I should say the past 8 years, where we've literally had to, and this is what people out in the world are saying. They're saying, I had to close down my heart because I was so afraid of so much. I was so afraid of so much. One day I had stock, the next day I didn't. One day I had a job, the next day I didn't. One day I blah, 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 the next day I didn't. And you know what they were saying was that, and I didn't know if I would lose it all the next day. And I thought about that, and you know, it was really interesting. I wondered how people in general felt. And what I discovered is that it isn't just the people that are directly affected. It was the families. It was not just folks that lost their jobs. It was many people that didn't make sense of any of this. And so today, you know, here we are. We get an opportunity to explore what we now could know. But I really do want to go back to the beginning of the show, where we talk about this idea of heart, which is an inner knowing. You know, I got to ask you, does it really matter what's going on in the world outside?
Not one bit. You know, it's all made up. Your decision on how you're going to maneuver, move, think, the outcome that you make of that information that you're hearing does not necessarily determine who you are, but which is why it's all made up, because really who you are is what you express to other people. You have the ability to share your emotions or to keep them all bottled up. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go to work and start displaying your emotions for everybody to see. But when you understand your emotions, you start to gain a little sense of self-awareness and empathy. And you start to learn that being authentic in relationships with other people is really what matters. It's not about how much money you make. I think the happiness factor for money or income is somewhere it's around $75,000, and I talk about this a great deal in my upcoming book. And just for a little quick plug there, my upcoming book on positive changes, you know, winning a game for the life that you'll love. And really that's kind of what life is about. It's a game. It's about what you want to go win. You know, if you have that winning spirit, we talked earlier about how the game isn't over until the last buzzer. And I'm not stopping until that happens. And hopefully you have that same desire and inspiration too. That's kind of what part of being on this earth is about, is understanding that it's not just all about you. and getting in touch and aware of your emotions and feelings, and finding somebody who you truly love, finding a place where you truly love to work, being wholehearted in your effort to sustain those relationships and to converse with people, and being aware of that human factor, that everybody can make a mistake, and that's also okay too. That's this being authentic that we've been talking about, and understanding how it's okay to take a risk. And when you take that risk, it's actually about being safe. And we've talked today all about, we've defined out risk and we've defined out safe. And really, a risk and safe, it's all about being ready to implement your safe knowledge and taking that scary, awesome feeling of emotions.
Yeah.
And driving forward in life.
Yeah. I love it. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have a very special moment that Chip shares with us. A special salute. We're going to take a short break, everyone. When we come back, more with Chip Justice. For those of you out there, I want to make sure you know how to find out more about Chip. We'll give you that and much more when we come back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Enlightening, humorous, and compassionate. Listen live to The Kelly Ballard Show, insight and inspiration from the great beyond. Kelly is a fourth-generation medium and intuitive who covers topics ranging from grief, spirit guides, and listening to your intuition. Kelly can help you get answers and guidance from the other side with a little bit of humor and a lot of healing. Tune in to The Kelly Ballard Show, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Tired of traditional talk? People pontificating about this or that, the left or the right. Sometimes the truth is just all lost in the noise. Tune in each week to Straight Talk with Chuck Gallagher on TransformationTalkRadio.com, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, as nationally known guests talk about what's important to you, your life, your concerns, and your success. Tune in and turn on to Straight Talk with Chuck Gallagher. Visit ChuckGallagher.com for more information.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show. Stellar conversations to illuminate your journey. Engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
Disease, one of the most dreaded words in our vocabulary. Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know traditionally we have viewed disease as a degenerative process? Disease is better understood when we view it as dis-ease in the human body. Dis-ease means without ease. Health is not merely the absence of disease, it's when every part of the body works together effortlessly, relaxed and at ease. It's that relaxed state that lets energy flow in waves through and around the entire body. Every organ has an electrical charge, and when overcharged or undercharged, dis-ease occurs. And it is an effort to go through our day. We are able to determine the exact dis-ease of the body and design a specific solution to correct the nutritional imbalance. Contact us at 888-777-4232. That's 888-777-4232. And visit us at MaryJaneMack.com.
Hey,
little Biggie Smalls?
Hey,
it is actually. Wow. You knew that one. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, my God.
It's an East Coast reference, West Coast reference.
I know. I just got it right there. It's just like interesting. All of our shows now are uploaded to YouTube, and we love that. And now what we're finding is YouTube has got this amazing way that they monitor all of our shows. All right. So we're learning about the YouTube way right now. And I love that what they've done. It really ties into what we're talking about today. Rather than YouTube saying we're banning your show, they say this is why, and you could fix it by clicking on this button. See, I love that. You know, it's one thing to say, hey, we're not going to be able to put your show up here because this song is banned in Germany. And that's what we just discovered. You know, one of Frankie Valli's songs cannot be played in Germany. And I thought to myself, okay, well, we can remove that song. But this is the world we live in. See, if we get a little bit of knowledge, then what happens is we're not getting all emotional over somebody saying we're not going to upload your show. What we do is we say, you know what? This just doesn't fit with our guidelines. But here, let me give you a little information and knowledge, and we can fix it together. Boom. That's Chip Justice. Chip, thank you so much. Now, this is a special segment that happens, and I would love for you to tell us why, and tell us why this segment is so important for you.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. So today is September 22nd. Now, for those that don't know, September is National Suicide Month. And today being the 22nd goes even a little deeper for a lot of brothers and sisters of mine. And those brothers and sisters I'm talking about are veterans. Approximately 7.2% of the U.S. population are veterans of the U.S. military. And every day, 22 of them decide to take their own life. So that's what I'm here to talk about today, is standing up for those 22 veterans that are going to die today. You need to call them. If you're a veteran, today it's Buddy Check 22 Day. Go out and check on 22 of your buddies. Make sure that they're okay. So how can you find out more about Buddy Check 22? Go to Facebook, Buddy Check 22. Do a search for Buddy Check 22 on Facebook, and it'll take you to a group of people going for a worthy cause. I've just recently come across them. I'm doing work with some other veterans in another support group called Stand Beside Them. StandBesideThem.org is the URL. Stand Beside Them is a group of people, they're certified coaches in the U.S., and we have a set-aside group of folks that are specifically just veterans, and those veterans then coach other veterans. And if you're active duty military, I believe their services are free. If you're active duty military, I know my services are free, that's for sure. So one way or another, if you're active duty military and you desire coaching, if you're having a hard time, reach out. There's no need to go through anything alone. There are people out there who care enough to help you that have been in your shoes. So understand that today you're not alone. Thanks, Pat. That's a little bit about what the message is about our veterans. You know, I'm often reminded about there's so many wounded veterans out there that are still out in the hospitals. I work with other groups, and we try to go out there and talk to them and talk about how there's a life after the military and how there's careers and jobs. You know, what we have is we have a bunch of people who have physical challenges, and you can empathize and you can see those physical problems that they're going to have to deal with for the rest of their life. But what is so bad about suicide? You can't see that. No. It's, you know, you started out a show 2 hours ago talking about not knowing what we don't know.
That's me.
And
I don't know what I don't know.
And that's so true to suicide. You know, you can't see that a person is going to kill themselves. You only know that by reaching out and talking and understand what a person is going through and understand that they are, in fact, a human. And spending a little time with someone who is on that edge will go a long, long ways.
And, you know, this is really part of what we were talking about earlier, too. And that's talking about heart. You know, it's where, you know, you started the conversation in the show, and the show title is Taking Action with Heart. And part of that is being aware and learning how to be aware of the people that are really struggling. You know, the people that are out there, and being compassionate. But you see, this is really tying this all in. You know, if our hearts are not open, how can we possibly be compassionate?
Yeah, or empathize or anything else. You know, empathy is the number one feeling that only humans can share.
Mm.
I don't even think chimpanzees or apes have that ability to empathize. They kind of have a feeling, a sense of emotions, but humans are the only ones that can empathize and show self-awareness.
Mm. Well, you know, part of this is really getting to look inside. You know what? My dad was a mechanic, right? I mean, I don't know if I even share this with you, Chip. I know Chip and I spend a lot of time together. But, you know, here's what my dad is. My dad had 3 girls, right? 3 girls. My mom had 3 girls, but, you know, there were 3 girls. We're girls. Right. And my dad was a mechanic, and he built cars, and he built motorcycles. And, you know, my brother came along later. But here we were. My dad would always say, and he'd always bring a car home. My dad got me my first car. My dad got me my first car. It was a clunker. It was, I don't know, like a 1957 Ford Fairlane something, but I loved it. It was a big car. And I learned this from my dad early on. And he said to me, and he said something like, you know what? I'm going to tell you something right now that you're going to find is going to help you for the rest of your life. And then he would laugh. He would laugh and smoke his cigar. And he said, and he pointed to the car he just brought home. And it was horrible. It was just, it would look, you know what? It looked like it wasn't going to run at all. It did, you know, everything. Fender was falling. He said, you don't want to ever make a judgment about a car until you look under the hood. He said, you always got to remember to look under the hood. And I never forgot that. And he was right. That stayed in my life. And he opened up the hood. And what he showed me and my other 2 sisters was this shiny, sparkly, chrome. I don't even understand what that engine was. But that's what my dad had done. He had built the engine first. And he said to me, you got to get it working on the inside. You got to make sure that what's under the hood is working. And then you can build the outside.
Absolutely.
I never forgot that. And I just thinking today, you know, I remembered that based on the topic today. Who knew, Chip? Thank you so much for today. Last question. What's your personal message?
You know, success doesn't come alone, and it doesn't fall in your lap. You have to you have to go pursue it. You have to take risks and show that you have the confidence and the wherewithal and the being to stand out, and then learn from those risks. And it's those lessons learned in life that will really set you on that new path for that life that you're going to love.
Thank you. Chip Justice, everybody. Pretty soon you all are going to be able to see a nice, amazing, kind of cool website too. You know, but if you want to take a sneak peek, you can go over and take a sneak peek while it's being built. We like sneak peeks, and you can do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's go over to chipjustice.com. Take a look. This is what's happening. Why? Because Chip is doing exactly what he's talked about today. He's stepping out, taking risk, and leading with his heart. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Thanks again, all.
You bet.
You've been listening to The Chip Justice Show. Are you ready to take the next step but still need help? Are you ready to live the life you will love? Contact Chip now. Dr. Pat Baccili and Chip Justice will help you build meaningful success, embrace life and love, and realize the success and creativity in you. Living a life you love is the end game in this inspirational and empowering show. Positive changes is how you get there. Thanks for listening. For more information about Chip and the Positive Changes Institute, visit positivechangeinstitute.co.